Hello and welcome into Pat's Latest. I'm your host, Mike Gambardella, and we officially have made it. Training camp starts today for the New England Patriots, and some amazing news for a prize free agent addition. We eventually get to a look at the roster projection for the all 53 Patriots that will be making the team in 2025. And we also take a look at Drake Maye, what he means, obviously, to this season, and an update on another prized potential ad for the Pats. Before we get into everything, make sure you go down and subscribe for the channel. Let us know who you think is making the 53-man roster. Make sure you give us a like and go back and check out all of our old episodes after this. And as we run down everything, if you want an early look at who I think is going to make the Patriots, go on X at Mike Gambardella and take a look at all 53 members of the potential Patriots roster for 2025. We first start indeed by getting the amazing news that Stefon Diggs has officially been cleared to practice today. He will be out there just after tearing his ACL at 30 years of age in October, has come all the way back. He has rehabbed like a madman. He has worked extremely hard, has everything to prove, and despite getting a big time offseason contract here as well, Mike Vrabel spoke on Tuesday and said, I don't see any limitations right now. And Diggs has, positioned himself to be the alpha, to be the number one wide receiver for this team. And all accounts point to him being absolutely that for Drake Maye, so far as his locker being right around the corner, essentially right next to Drake Maye. And that duo has a lot to look forward to in the coming weeks over training camp here, and obviously with eyes towards hopefully a victory in week one against the Las Vegas Raiders. And additionally, for Drake Maye, who has enjoyed a fantastic offseason, seeing additions left and right, the wide receiver position, at the offensive line, getting Trey Hendrickson in the backfield, getting married this offseason, but he still prioritized to make time, even in the window where it's between OTAs and getting to officially training camp here. You have 5 weeks off. Obviously, he gets married, take a quick vacation, and then 3 other weeks he's really prioritized the bond with his receivers. And that's not just the wide receiver position, but the tight ends, running backs as well. Hunter Henry actually spoke yesterday and said Drake had the guys up after minicamp. We talked about trying to get everybody together. And he said, obviously, it was a good couple of days of working. We need to get as many reps as we can, steal as many of those reps as we can to get timing down, get a feel for each other more and more. But also, it's good to just be able to hang out because that bond can go a long way. Hunter Henry knows about this. He has been a consummate professional in this league for a very long time. So these words don't ring hollow. They gong that this bond is important and that this team goes beyond just a few snaps that they get every day at practice. He went on to say that no matter the good times, the bad times, that bond will continue. And it was good to connect with the guys for a few days. And again, that is so important. And Mike Vrabel said that in the break as well, that the most important part for this team was that 5 weeks in between minicamp and training camp now. And if this team really starts to come together and starts to buy into the culture that Mike Vrabel is building, then suddenly this is not just a team looking to blow away a couple of 4-13 seasons. We're trying to, get to 500 or over, or even compete potentially for a last playoff spot, but potentially be regarded as one of the top half teams in the NFL and start to push those Buffalo Bills for that supremacy in the AFC East. One person that could make a big difference, and we talked about it yesterday, is Trey Hendrickson, who was in Cincinnati. The owner was talking about him, saying that a deal would get done. Hendrickson has officially held out. Not only that, he is driven home back to Florida, and he is really digging in here. And one of the big sticking points of this is likely guaranteed money. His contemporaries, such as Myles Garrett, TJ Watt, have all gotten 3 years of guaranteed money. What the Bengals are at right now is only 1 year of guaranteed money. And again, guys over 30, you're starting to take that consideration, but I think this is starting to build up as something that could get very contentious, and expect this to drag on into the preseason. So you're looking at, a month's worth of potential updates, what's going on, what's it playing out here. And we don't want to waste our time in that, but we want to set the stage for what is going to happen. And eventually, if the Bengals stay dug in, Hendrickson stays dug in, the agents are going to get involved and say, if you're not going to give us the deal that we want, we're going to go out and find one. And that's where a team like the Patriots could get involved to say that we want to add to that vaunted pass rush up front. You want to pair it with Keon White, obviously Harold Landry there, Clavon Chasen. Those are a couple guys that, have done good things and you want them to get back to that level, but no one that is an absolute, Pro Bowler right now. Hendrickson could be that guy. Now, again, this is going to be a long process. Expect it to be hear this. Expect a long process. And for that long process, expect something to come much later in August. But keep this in the back of your mind as you move forward. There could be some players that start to push what our roster projection looks like. And without further ado, we'll get into that roster projection and go over every one of the 53 that could make the roster right now. That's, again, 90 players, 91 with the international pathway here as well, down to 53. So we'll start offense down, starting with the quarterbacks. Expect, obviously, Drake Maye to be there, Joshua Dobbs as the backup, and Woolridge probably pushed to practice squad, if not further down, and the Patriots could look at adding a more seasoned veteran to that practice squad mix or picking up a cast off from another team. Would not surprise me either way unless Woolridge absolutely lights the preseason on fire. In the backfield, obviously, you have Ramondre Stevenson, Travion Henderson. At this time, I think Antonio Gibson would make the roster. Initially, I had Lan Larison in that position. I think he will start to push him as time goes, but right now, I think if you had to start the roster, it wouldn't be there quite yet. For me, I think that position actually goes to Brock Lampy. This is a team with Josh McDaniels as the offensive coordinator that is going to want a fullback at times and could see a spot for him, not just for the backfield, but essentially for a third tight end, because I think as of right now, this team would only carry two tight ends because of the success had by Hunter Henry and Austin Hooper. Jaheim Bell, obviously, there. CJ Dipray as well could fight for some spots. Jack Westover, all guys that they could probably say, look, let's try to sneak them down to practice squad because there's so many other talented guys that they want to see put out in that position as well. At the wide receiver spot, Stefon Diggs, obviously, Pop Douglas. Mac Hollins is injured right now, but he still keeps his roster spot, and I think, would be starting in three wide receiver sets, but that opens up the opportunity for Kyle Williams as well. Kayshon Boutte, again, without a trade, absolutely should be on this roster, and then that leaves probably two spots. And again, even Mike Reese from ESPN said expect this team to hold 7 wide receivers. So Diggs, Hollins, Douglas, Williams, Boutte, and then 2 more spots would likely be Efton Chisholm. I think has made an absolute name for himself and is earning a spot on this roster, and I expect him to do so. That leaves 1 spot between Kendrick Bourne, Jalen Polk, and Javon Baker. For me right now, again, I think Bourne has had great connectivity, talked very well, and had that relationship with Drake Maye. But I think the opportunity to potentially unlock something from Jalen Polk or Javon Baker keeps them at the forefront. And for me, I think a second round wide receiver in Jalen Polk, you want to see what this coaching staff can do and what Josh McDaniels can do with him. Gives him the edge up. And again, I would even put Javon Baker ahead of Kendrick Bourne at this point as well. Makes him more of a trade candidate or a cut candidate. Looking over at the offensive line, your starters of Campbell, Strange, Bradbury, and Moses, and then looking at the depth. Caden Wallace, I think, absolutely is there. I would expect Vidarian Lowe to unfortunately lose out on his spot unless they decide that Caden Wallace is actually moving inside and looking more at left guard. Then they could keep Lowe, and then Layden Robinson or Tyrese Robinson would be an odd man out. For me, again, I have Jack Connolly potentially making this roster with some flexibility to play guard and tackle spots, and that really helps when Russ Schweitzer retired as well. The rookie Bryant and Demontre Jacobs also fighting for a spot, and Jared Wilson obviously going to be on this team, and that will shore up your depth on the offensive line and offensive side of the ball. Looking over on the opposite side, we already talked about Landry White, Chason, Brady Swinson keeps it going over there. But again, that's only 4 edge rushers to start with because I don't see Anthony Jennings making this team at this time. Milton Williams, Christian Barmore, Tonga, Farmer, and Farms really kind of pushing for a big presence at that defensive tackle spot. The linebackers of Spillane, Ellis, Gibbons, Tavai, and right now, for me, Marte Mapu has enough versatility and potentially some unlocked talent to go put him on the roster right now. But again, could be somebody that could be on the outside looking in if the Patriots are able to find another edge rusher to take his spot. At the cornerback, obviously, Christian Gonzalez and Carlton Davis, Marcus Jones, Alex Austin, and Marcus Dial rounding out the cornerbacks. And over at safety, you're looking, obviously, again, Jabril Peppers, Kyle Duggar, the rookie Woodson, Pettis really showing out and should be safe on his spot. And it really comes down to that final safety spot of Hawkins and Epps going toe-to-toe for it. Brendan Schooler, obviously, was BA in that safety mix and could find some way on his packages. But again, an all-pro is going to have that spot. We'll keep saying, obviously, because the Patriots starters that they do have are etched in stone. The rest of them completely up for grabs and playing that depth out how we see it. Borregales, Behringer, and Ashby locked in as the special teamers right now at kicker, punter, and long snapper, respectively. And yes, believe it or not, that is 53 names plus the ones that are on the outside looking in. But that is likely going to be your New England Patriots, barring some big-time roster additions, trade, free agent signings, or otherwise. Injuries always a factor. But again, an early look at what this team could look like, feel strongly in how it really is going to look right now. And with where everybody else is, I would say firmly that this is a 9-8 team, and how things could break out. You could see, again, them pushing really for that final playoff spot as constructed right now. So finally, something to get excited about here in New England. We'll continue to have all the updates for you as camp is underway right now. Practice is going, the pads are on, and we're starting to see, again, Mike Vrabel talked about the excitement of sometimes players just look different when they put the pads on. And we think we're going to find a couple uncovered gems and really put them potentially into this 53 that we're not talking about. So make sure, get down in the comments, let us know who that potentially could be for you, who is the player you need to see more of. Again, give us a like if you like what you hear, and go back and check out all of our old episodes so you know exactly what's going on with your Patriots. We'll have it all right for you here. Fight on, Foxborough.